"It's your fault I lost my baby." Those words have haunted me for 8 months, not because they're true, they aren't, but because my own sister screamed them at me in front of our entire family while I stood there, shocked and confused. I am a 29-year-old woman. My sister Vanessa is 32. We were close growing up, though we've drifted apart in adulthood. She married her college sweetheart David 5 years ago. He's a genuinely good guy, hardworking, thoughtful, and he treated my sister like she hung the moon. Everyone in our family loves him. Last Christmas, our whole family gathered at our parents' home. I arrived early to help cook, and Vanessa pulled me aside, practically vibrating with excitement. She told me she was pregnant, about 8 weeks along. She swore me to secrecy, saying she was waiting to tell David on Christmas morning as his gift. I was thrilled for them. They'd been talking about starting a family for years, and David especially had always wanted to be a father. I hugged her, we cried, and I promised not to say a word. Later that night, I was looking for my phone charger and realized I might have left it in the guest bedroom where Vanessa and David were staying. The door was partially open, so I knocked lightly and peeked in. There was no answer, so I stepped in to grab my charger. That's when I saw Vanessa's phone on the nightstand, lit up with incoming text messages. I wouldn't normally look, but the preview caught my eye. "Miss you already. Can't wait to see you again tomorrow." It was from someone saved as Work Mike. The text continued coming in. "Last night was amazing. Still can't believe we finally did it." I froze. This didn't sound like a work conversation. More messages appeared, increasingly explicit, making it clear Vanessa was having an affair with this person. I backed out of the room, my mind racing. I didn't know what to do. Should I confront her, tell David, pretend I saw nothing? I spent the night sick with anxiety. The next morning, Vanessa announced her pregnancy to everyone, and David was ecstatic. He kept saying it was the best Christmas gift ever while my stomach twisted into knots. I pulled Vanessa aside after breakfast and told her what I'd seen. I didn't accuse her of anything, I just asked if everything was okay. She immediately became defensive, then broke down crying, admitting she'd been having an affair with her coworker for 3 months. The worst part? She wasn't sure if the baby was David's or Mike's. I was devastated for David, but told Vanessa this was her mess to fix. I urged her to be honest with her husband, saying secrets like this always come out eventually. She promised she would tell him after the holidays when they were back home. I reluctantly agreed to keep quiet until then. 2 weeks passed. I called Vanessa several times to check if she'd talked to David. She kept making excuses. She was waiting for the right time, she was scared, she needed to end things with Mike first. I told her she needed to be honest before things got even more complicated. A week later, my mom called me in tears. Vanessa had lost the baby. I was heartbroken for her despite everything. I sent flowers and tried calling, but she wouldn't pick up. Then, about a month after her miscarriage, our entire family gathered for our grandmother's birthday. I hadn't seen Vanessa since Christmas, and she refused to make eye contact with me during dinner. After cake, she suddenly stood up, tears streaming down her face. "I have something to say," she announced, her voice shaking. "I lost my baby because of the stress of being betrayed by my own sister." The room went silent. Everyone stared at me. "Ella found out I made a mistake," she continued, and instead of supporting me, she threatened to tell David if I didn't. She stalked me with constant calls and messages, saying she'd ruin my marriage if I didn't confess. The doctors said the miscarriage was caused by extreme stress. I was stunned. This was a complete fabrication. I had never threatened her or stalked her. I had only encouraged her to be honest. Before I could defend myself, Vanessa continued, "And the worst part? I was never even unfaithful. She misunderstood some texts from my coworker about a surprise party we were planning for David, but she was so convinced I was cheating that she wouldn't listen to reason." My jaw dropped. This was an outright lie. She had admitted the affair to me in detail. David looked confused and hurt. My parents were staring at me in horror. My aunts and uncles were whispering, and there I was, blindsided and painted as the villain who caused my sister to lose her baby. When I finally found my voice, I simply said, "That's not what happened." Vanessa erupted, "It's your fault I lost my baby. You couldn't stand to see me happy." The evening devolved into chaos. I tried to defend myself without exposing Vanessa's actual infidelity. I didn't want to hurt David more than necessary, but my attempts came across as weak and evasive. In the end, I left early, with most of my family believing I had somehow caused my sister's miscarriage through some imagined jealousy and harassment. Over the following months, I became the family pariah. My parents, who initially tried to stay neutral, gradually sided with Vanessa as she continued to play the grieving mother. Extended family members sent me angry messages about how I could do something so cruel to my own sister. Only my younger brother seemed skeptical of Vanessa's story, but even he kept his distance, not wanting to get caught in the crossfire. I tried to explain my side to my parents privately, but they didn't want to hear the details of whatever disagreement had led to such a tragedy. They just wanted me to apologize to Vanessa and make peace. How could I apologize for something I didn't do? How could I make peace with someone who had so thoroughly thrown me under the bus to cover her own mistakes? I withdrew from family gatherings. I stopped taking calls from relatives. I focused on my work and my small circle of close friends who knew me well enough to know I would never do what Vanessa accused me of. Last week, my mother called to tell me Vanessa had been hospitalized with complications from an autoimmune condition she's had for years. She's not in critical condition, but she'll be in the hospital for at least a week. According to my mother, Vanessa has been asking for me, saying she wants to make amends and start healing our family. I told my mother I wasn't ready to see Vanessa. The wound is still too raw, the injustice too great. My mother called me cruel and heartless. She's your sister, and she's in the hospital, she said. Whatever happened between you two, it's time to let it go. My father called next, saying, even if you think you're right, is this really the hill you want to die on? Family is family. My brother texted that while he doesn't fully believe Vanessa's version of events, maybe this is an opportunity to clear the air and get the truth out. He thinks I should go, if only to hear what she has to say. But I can't bring myself to sit by the bedside of someone who so callously lied about me, who blamed me for the most traumatic event in her life, who turned my family against me to protect herself. What if this making amends is just another manipulation? What if she wants me there just to maintain her narrative that I was the villain who is now forgiven by her grace? Or what if she's genuinely sorry? What if this health scare has made her reevaluate her actions? Am I denying us both a chance at reconciliation? I don't know. All I know is that the thought of walking into that hospital room makes me feel physically ill. Yesterday, I received a group text from several aunts and cousins expressing their disappointment in my continued cruelty and asking how I can live with myself for abandoning my sister in her time of need after everything else I've done. My mother has now resorted to hourly updates about Vanessa's condition, clearly trying to guilt me into visiting. My father has stopped speaking to me completely. And David? He's been by Vanessa's side this entire time, the loyal husband who still doesn't know the full truth. Sometimes I wonder if he deserves to know, but it's not my secret to tell, especially now. So here I am, asking strangers on the internet, am I the jerk for refusing to visit my sister in the hospital after she blamed me for her miscarriage? I know family is complicated, I know compassion matters, but so does truth, and so does my own mental health. I've spent 8 months being vilified for something I didn't do, watching my sister receive sympathy and support for a lie she created at my expense. Would visiting her now just be allowing that lie to continue, or am I holding on to anger that's only hurting me more in the long run? I truly don't know what the right thing to do is anymore.